Welcome, team, to episode 70 of the Keep Going podcast. Athletes shining a light on mental health. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm joined here by Caroline Tripp and Pat O'Malley. Pat, where are you coming out of, buddy?
Yeah, man, not the HQ yet. First lessons at 10 o'clock. I will make my way over there. I might have to pedal over there, as you can see, but excited to have Caroline on today. And Carol, where are you coming out of?
I'm coming out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, but I go to Bridgewater, Massachusetts. So South
Yeah.
Shore
Sweet.
area,
Got
Boston.
it. I've heard Plymouth on this podcast a couple of times. You think, Luke?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, just a couple.
Man. Well, I love it, man. We're ringing in episode 70. Before we go into anything, 70 episodes, man.
Yeah, no, insane. It's absolutely insane.
I got nothing to really say. I'm just so thankful, so blessed and honored that we have 70 plus episodes now with the interview stuff. And had to shine my light this morning. I'm repping some Meet a Wee stuff from my guy, Zach Gale. If you haven't checked out his content, do that. He was a big motivation when we got started. So only fitting that it came in the mail yesterday and almost forgot to put it on, Zach. So I apologize, but it's on now. And
shout out to boy Gale, dude. Shout out to boy Gale. Shout out to listeners, man, because we've hit 207 Spotify followers. We're about at 50 followers on YouTube. The weekly plays are coming in, and we really appreciate the community that's kind of building up around. And we couldn't have done it without Caro's twin, Jackie. So we really want to shout out Jackie for the stuff that she did with us for about a couple months there, 3-4 months. And we're really glad that she was a part of the team for as long as she was.
No doubt. It's crazy to see her off doing her thing now, and we'll touch more on that later on as that gets rolling. But I want to focus on Caro today. And Caro, I'll give you a brief intro. Obviously, Division III college basketball player. So we love that on the podcast. Obviously, a big part of Morgan's message. Do a lot with a lot of organizations, nonprofits, and doing stuff through your school. So I won't take away like the bulk of the majority of the podcast information, but tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so coming out of Plymouth, and then I'm finishing up right now. I'm a senior at Bridgewater State. I just played my last basketball season there, but had an absolute blast. So I graduate in May, and then shortly after that, in the beginning of June, I'll be moving to Indianapolis to start a year-long job with the NCAA.
Nice.
So applications at school kind of fell into it, and then now I'm in the process of taking like the athletics route with this internship. So as you said, I do a lot with Morgan's message. That's my shirt here.
Love it.
Here they say matters. We picked that slogan in a meeting in the beginning of this year. So Morgan's message, we do stuff with American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and then I'm heavily involved in Best Buddies and Special Olympics. So I've just been able to be at a great university for 4 years that offers all that and allows you to kind of take something and run with it. So it's opened a lot of doors for me.
I love
Absolutely.
it. And just a quick question right off the gate. Obviously, knowing Jackie, starting to know you through accountability partners and just all the impact that you make. When did this light bulb kind of flick for you? Like, when did you decide, hey, I got to make this impact? There's more to kind of the life I'm living. That would be my first question.
Yeah, so it definitely was in like a hole a little bit when COVID happened, because that was my senior year graduating, and then freshman year of college was kind of taken by COVID. No, didn't go to the dorms, whatever. So it was just super untraditional. And then when I went back sophomore year for my first season, I didn't have a freshman year. It was just kind of like everything's kind of opening up, but people are going through the motions. And I mean, I was young, like I was a sophomore, there's the upperclassmen and stuff, but I was like, I just feel like there can be more out of this. And I wanted to meet people outside of my team. Obviously your team is your best friends, but I was like, I kind of want to be a sponge, meet more people, whatever. So around that time when I was kind of like down in the dumps, like just going through the motions, my season had just ended. I saw Morgan's message on Instagram. And I looked around, saw that it was at different universities. It wasn't big yet at all. And now it's huge, as I think most people know what it is.
Right.
So I looked into it, didn't know how to kind of approach it. And then I reached out to, I'll give her a shout out, Sue Crosby Tangent. She works in athletics at Bridgewater, and kind of mentioned it to her. And it just took one person giving me the push, like, do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
One person that's going to have your back. And then people reached out, put it out there. And since then, we've just kind of had the ball rolling. But I think take the risk and take the leap and just go for it. Like, it sounds so cliche, but I was like, I don't know how it's going to be. And like, the turnout has been amazing, and it's helped me a lot. Learning, friendship wise, everything, getting this job too. It's been huge to have. And just, learning about myself too. So I just say find one person that's going to have your back, believe in you. And then she kind of pushed me and I did it. And now the support is just huge.
Amazing.
I'm sure it's such a boost for you too to help other people. Like I think we've talked on the pod a lot about what you can do for yourself for your mental health, but just pouring into other people and helping other people is what makes it makes me feel the best during the week. You can focus on yourself as much as you want, but once you start get out there and impacting the community, I think that's what really can make a turn in your life for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think not ever meeting you in person, Carol, like I'm a fan. Like I'm like legitimately just I feel like I'm following you from a distance. Like I'm just a fan of everything that you represent. And I need to know a little bit more about how we got to this point, right? Like tell me about being a kid, being a twin, going through that, which I can't even imagine, but I want to hear your side of the story. I don't want to hear any more about Jackie's, honestly.
I'm about to say, we got Jackie's. We got to hear yours.
Yeah. So it's definitely like super different as we get older. We're not in a way like going like this, but we're still so close together. But then it's like you've been on this same path your whole life. And then this and this, whatever. So, and it's great. So we're kind of like, we share this path together and now we're doing our own things and you have the support of each other, obviously always. But yeah, growing up, it was always the two of us. I was talking to a kid on his podcast earlier this week, which I'll shout out at the end, but he was kind of asking about like, what was it like being a woman growing up in sports and a girl? And I was like, honestly, like, I'm not going to sit here and be the poor me. Like me and Jackie were getting picked first at recess. Like, am I going to play this, that, or the other? Because it was always me and her were going to do it together. So growing up, I always had the confidence of like, I'm never walking into a room alone. I'm never sitting alone at lunch. I'm never going to practice alone. Like, so in a way that was kind of weird when we first started doing things on our own. Like I'm driving in the car. I'm like, there's no one next to me. Like it was like, oh,
right.
Those things like that I don't realize people went through life doing just normally, like, because not everybody obviously, but I think that set me up. So I could walk into a room and be confident. I'd never had those nervous feelings before. So I think I'm so confident now in doing things because I always had somebody cheering me on. And even if she's not physically cheering me on, it's like I have that to fall back on. But yeah, I learned a lot more about myself too. Like once like we started doing different things and I was on a basketball team on my own for the first time. But yeah, that like if I wasn't a twin, I don't know what my success would be. Like I owe a lot to that because it was like you always had somebody right behind your back giving you the confidence to do whatever you want. Like if I was going to get knocked down at recess, she's either knocking down the kid that knocked me down or telling so it just gets up for I think a lot of confidence for me to now go through life and start my career even if she's not right there.
I love it.
Amazing.
I love just pushing each other day in and day out. And I think that's and kind of to bounce off the twin deal. Like I have a little brother, right, who's a year younger than me. And I've talked to Jackie about this before. Without him, I don't have a lot of the traits I have now. A lot of these character positives and doing things for other people. I think it translates in the workforce. It translates in other social groups, in whatever setting, right? I think those skills translate 100%. What do you got, Luke?
No, I'm the typical younger child, as people call me. So I may have some of the character negatives from that aspect of the relationship. But no, I think I was given a good roadmap about how to care for people for my older siblings. Right, I've got an older brother, Seth, that's 8 years older than me. And then I've got a older brother, Caleb, that's 4 years older than me. And both of them, one of them works in the state government, servicing the parks and stuff up in Kentucky, which is all about creating a good environment for other people. And then Caleb, my middle brother's a preacher, so he's all about pouring into his community and taking care of his people up there, and super proud of them. And like you said, that your siblings and your family kind of provide a roadmap for you how to behave, and I've got really two good role models up there, so I can totally sympathize with that for sure.
No, agreed.
I think it's because I think there's one more thing about the siblings, like the friends that I look at now that are like I'll call my best friends. They have the kind of same a similar sibling.
Exactly.
Like I kind of like end up with friends that have older siblings or end up with friends, you know what I mean? Like big family.
Right. I've never thought about that.
Right.
I've never thought about now I'm thinking about it.
I'm like, they have one sibling, they're the like you I think it's so big for me. Like I mean it's not a deciding factor for my friends, but looking it's kind of who I like end up closest to is the people that are like a big family or the youngest sibling or that.
Dang. Yeah, I never thought of it like that either, Luke. But yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Now I'm thinking about Brody, my best buddy here. He's got an older sister that's 6 years older than him. Yeah, no, it makes sense 100%. Well, I'm glad we touched on that because that's something I hadn't really recounted on before in my life, and it's starting to make a little bit more sense. That's kind of what this podcast is about, right? Us, me, and Pat learning from our guests and kind of their situations and how we can apply it to our own.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about basketball. So I know played high school and then went to Bridgewater State. Talk to me about that process and kind of how you felt going through it.
Yeah, so Jackie and I played like a ton of sports growing up. We were soccer, like it was soccer, soccer, soccer. And then it slowly just switched over to basketball because we liked it more. I still love soccer. Played lacrosse, track, whatever. But then you have to get into the AU circuit and all that stuff. So it became
yeah.
And then I talked to, we have a lot of D3 schools up in the Northeast.
Mhm.
And them like it's super big around here. So there was so many schools to talk to, whether that was like an hour away, 3 hours away, 5 hours away, 30 minutes down the road, like where I ended up. So the process, we kind of like, Jackie and I looked together, but then it was like, don't be afraid to go look somewhere. If one coach wants you more, we're different players. And that's when we kind of started to realize, okay, like we're not going to be grouped together anymore. Like
What was that decision like, Carol? Like, what was that conversation when it initially happened? Did you have some anxiety about that? Did you have some fears, or was it kind of just a natural kind of time in the life?
Yeah, I
at
mean,
that point,
it wasn't very like boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna do this. You're gonna do this. It kind of just happened. Like we went on the tour to Bridgewater together with one of our best friends from high school, and I went off to meet some of the team after. And it was always my coach was always like, she's welcome to come. She's welcome. Like she can talk too, but she kind of, I think at that point was more willing to be like I didn't say it back then, but when she was more willing to be like, no, I'm gonna go look at this school, you look at that school, I was like, okay, yeah, but like I'm like nervous.
Right.
There's gonna be a day where and no one has that conversation with you, no one prepares you for it, so it was funky, but ended up working out. Yeah. And then I looked at schools near and not super far. A couple schools like in New York had reached out and be a family there, but when I went to Bridgewater, it was like a very homey feel. Honestly, it being 30 minutes away, I had never really actually gone and seen the campus. Like you driven through it, but I didn't really think to go look. I was like, oh, it's right down. It's 30 minutes away. But I loved it. My coaches do a great job at recruiting, and just being able to have everyone there the last 3 seasons is what made it so worth it. I could have gone somewhere else. I could whatever, but looking back, there's no one that had more family in the stands than me because we're right down the road. It just gave it such a community feel. Not so much like high school, but it's like all my friends can come, all my family can come, and like those moments wouldn't have been as big as they were if they're watching through the live stream. So that's
absolutely,
of course,
the best of my career.
Yeah, I want to stay there, and I love the fact that you speak so highly about your school and your community and your family, and that explains why. Like I look at you sometimes as a public figure in your community. Like you've done so much, not only on the court but off the court as well. Now that transition's coming, right? We talked about it early on in the prelude about you now taking this job, moving forward, coming out to the old Midwest with the cool kids for a little bit. Talk about so far any positives, negatives about that transition away from basketball.
Yeah, so this decision was made. It was a very quick, like it all happened really fast because I had my other year of eligibility to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of at the point where as I said, I absolutely love it, and that's so clear, but I don't know how much longer I can stay in a place I'm doing so well and so comfortable in. It's like the easy decision, kind of like you walk in a room and you know everyone. Like I run clubs, I'm super involved. So I don't know how much more room there is for growth and to get to where I want to be because there's so much more out there. So I kind of was at the point where it was the middle of the season, and my mom and I had seen the NCAA thing on LinkedIn. And so we're looking at it, and I kind of was like, oh, yeah, that looks cool. And then I sat down and looked at it the next day, and I was just like, every single box checks yes for me. So I'm just going to apply. So I applied, and then I talked to my university president, Fred Clark, who's been super supportive. And
shout him out.
Yeah, guy. And so Charlie Baker, the old Mass governor, is the president of the NCAA. So we were like, let's see what we can connect, whatever. I'm going to put a cool, whatever. We'll see. This sounds like it could be a great fit for you. So it kind of seemed like a long shot because it's such a big organization. Obviously, it's a very successful, big internship. And the university was like, we got you. Like, we're fully supportive of you. Cool. So I submitted it, and then I was in the middle of the season. So you're trying to put it on the back burner, but it's also your future. But you don't want to kind of do, because you don't want to take away from the last season. And then I got the email, we're going to fly you down, or sorry, jumping ahead, for the video interview. So I got on Zoom with the basketball staff, because the positions, the women's basketball intern, felt good about the video interview. And then they were like, we'll get back to you in a few weeks. So I said, okay, I'm just going to do my thing. That's over there. They'll get back to me. I'm just going to play basketball. Then I got the email that they wanted to fly me to Indy for the final interview, which actually the date they gave was my home opener. So
of course it was. Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, let me know. So I called them. They're great. Moved it around. So I actually went to Indy, had the interview the day before my home opener, came back, and then, well, they're like, we'll let you know in a couple weeks. All right, so I'm going to keep playing basketball. So I was playing basketball. And then beginning of December, I think, I got a call and they offered me it, and I took it. So
incredible.
Yeah.
You celebrate it for a little bit, or let me enjoy the rest of my season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy fast process, but it was pretty cool, and I'm super excited. It's cool. Like, you guys, I was thinking about this, how I was going to word this before I came on. You guys are not in your sport anymore, but you're still able to give back an impact in this. And that's kind of connection. Like, yeah, I'm not physically playing, but it's my work field now. So
yeah.
Yep.
And I think it never happens without your work sophomore year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just start asking that question for somebody. Hey, can you help me out? Figure out how to do this, and they get you connected, and then you put in the work, and you've done a lot of great work in your community, and that's unreal for your resume right there. And they picked somebody that they knew was a hard worker and that was going to put a lot of effort into their job, and we're really proud of you for that. And proud of you for getting this internship, and you're going to make a great impact at the NCAA.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. And I talk about it all the time, at 29 years old now, this game, baseball, this game, soccer, this game, basketball, it's like eating a bag of potato chips. Someone told me that a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And they said this game, if you stay involved in it, you'll go for one, and then two, and then three. You're always going to stay in the game. Like, obviously, I'm still with NCSA now. I still work at a facility now. Luke is a high school college coach. You're now going to Indy. It's like, if you stay with the right people, this game will stay with you in some capacity. And I always echo that message, because a lot of athletes get out of college and all of a sudden they're like, what am I going to do? You can chase your full-time dream and still keep the game involved with it. I just want to make that clear.
And absolutely. And that's like, for about a month or two, I was not sure if I was going to coach college again next year. But then, like, spring season started, and I got out there doing the drills and stuff, and there's, like, nothing that makes me more excited than, like, teaching a new technique and my goalkeeper's making a big save. Or, like, or asking them about their internships, or asking them about how classes are going, because I've been in their shoes, especially since it's my alma mater. Like, dude, I couldn't give that up for the world right now. And like you said, Kara, it just stays in your life. We let it bleed into our full-time life, because that's how much we care about it, for sure.
Especially a player like you, Caroline, that like plays with so much passion, right? Like, I've seen the video, I've seen the clips. I can't fanboy you enough. Like, I like watching you play the game of basketball. Do you feel like that's going to translate into that job once you get there?
Yeah, I think the way I play, there's so many pictures of me diving on the floor and like kind of doing the extra thing. I would probably dive on the floor times I didn't even have to. But if it was going to make the game, like, I'm fast paced. So in a way, I'd like to say yes, but also I think it's going to be a good time to, slow down and kind of just learn and ask questions. But the go-getter attitude, mentality, yes. Wanting to make those around me better, yes. But being the leader and everything, and the point guard, and like being the one, maybe it's time for me to, pull back, and someone else can kind of show me the ways for a little bit. But I don't know. I'm open to either option. I think that that's always going to be my attitude in life, though, is like, dive on the floor, do the extra thing, like, make it's going to be hard, but go do it.
I think Pat talks about it a lot, listening to learn instead of listening to respond. You're going to start an internship where you're going to be able to make a great impact. But if you take it at the beginning as an opportunity to learn from your coworkers, and then give your input where it's valuable, you're going to grow exponentially within a year or two if you take it from that perspective. And I know you will. You're going to do a great job at it, for sure.
No,
Thank you.
I completely agree. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Obviously, we are a mental health podcast. We kind of stay oriented on that. I know listeners, if you're still with us, 20 minutes in on the dot, coming up in 3 seconds here, you're listening to Caroline talk, and you're probably thinking, how did she get to this point? What does she do day in, day out? I usually ask this question in the beginning, but I wanted to wait because I know we had a lot to cover. Talk about your day-to-day things that when you're feeling good, what are you doing? What would you recommend for other young female athletes and male athletes as well?
Yeah, so it's not even something that's super measurable. Like I get up at this time, I do this. I have a routine. I'm a pretty routine person. I'm okay with getting off of it here and there, but when things are going good, it's when the little things are going good. And it's like going to the gym isn't I got to go to the gym to check off. Like I'm going to the gym because I want to go to the gym. I'm going to get a coffee because I want to go do this. So I think all of the little things, and then that contributes to all the bigger things I have to do, like going to work, going to my internship, getting ready. But I think slowing down too. So I have this issue where I'll burn out and I'm go 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 go. Like my schedule, it could be as packed as it could physically fit on my Google Calendar, and I just need to take a second to look back and find time for myself. So have 15, 20 minutes here and there. I'm going to, watch a video on my phone, watch some highlights. I'm going to read some of my book, but slow down, bring myself down, and then kind of continue. So basically throughout the day, just have a little bit of you time here and there. The day gets so hectic, but if everyone looked at their screen time, they probably spend 4 hours on TikTok. Take an hour of that and look at something. Like I have a big thing in my room of letters that people have written me over the years, or pictures or little notes. And even that, it's just like my little fan base is in a box. And even if they're not with me, okay, I have this letter from a high school teacher 3 years ago. If I'm having a bad day, pull it out. So have those little things that can kind of cheerlead you, even if you're like on your own on a Monday.
Yeah. I love that.
I love the cheerleader for you aspect. I've never heard it like described like that either, I should say. Wow. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I think I have a new president at school. He started in August, and he gave us a book called oh my gosh, this is gonna kill. It's either Teach with Passion or Teach with Fire. I can't remember which one it is, but he's like, you got to keep this on your desk, right? Like, and anytime, he's awesome. He's like super involved on the lowest level he can be, even as a president. He's like, anytime you read a poem that gets you fired up, if you've been having a bad week or something like that, shoot me an email with why you liked it, because he was an old English teacher. So I've read a couple of those poems in there this year, and like you said, it's just a way to kind of cheerlead you through the low moments for sure. Talk to me a little bit about how are you going to keep this going in the real world, right? In college, it's kind of structured for yourself, or from the college level, they give you your class schedule and then you kind of fit in your own time. How are you going to structure this, do you think, whenever that internship comes up, to make mental health a priority?
Because there's definitely a change. I'd agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's going to help too that there's, I believe, 31 other interns also going, and they're
Awesome.
kind of
nice.
Most of them were athletes, so we're kind of all going through this change together. Most of us are moving. There's only one other person, I believe, from the Northeast, but people are coming from all parts of the country up and moving to a city a lot of us are unfamiliar with. Ending sport. So it's going to be a huge change. Like I don't have basketball 3 hours a day, and I don't have that. And the big thing for me is every single day in the back of my head, I'm walking to class, I'm going to class, I'm going to practice. When am I going to watch film? When am I going to get extra shots up? When am I going to do this? When am I going to get my stretches in? And I have all this energy and time that was consumed by the pressure that I have to put some. So it's okay. When am I going to, prepare for this meeting? Maybe when am I going to go to the gym? So it's just finding that. And then I think I'm going to try to disperse it into different areas. So the schedule thing will be different because I've done the 9 to 5 for I did an internship over the summer, 2 days a week. So I kind of feel, but just being able to I'm going to have more free time than I think I've ever had because I'm not going to have basketball every night. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting, but I think it's going to be good having people that like me around me still, that are kind of trying to navigate their way through this new career aspect and, retired aspect.
100%.
So just being able to talk with each other.
And that's we've been doing this podcast for 70 episodes, man. I probably didn't get a solid routine nailed down till 40 or 50,
right?
With what I wanted to do. And I've been working for 4 or 5 years after college. So there's no perfect answer for that. It's whatever you got to do to make the time for it. And the way you're kind of thinking about it, I think you've got a head start on it. And that's awesome.
That's what I was on the same page with, Luke. I think I listened to Inky Johnson, as you know, Go Vols, all the time. And Inky talks about how everybody has their expectations and non-negotiables. But the beautiful thing is everyone has their own flair to it, their own recipe for success. And it's like everyone wants, and this, I'm talking to a lot of athletes right now, like that are listening to this podcast. Like everyone thinks it has to be so regimented. It has to be so this, and this. Spoiler here, it's not going to go that way. And a lot of people, they pull off after the first thing or second thing goes wrong. I think there's a lot of power in sticking to your non-negotiables, saying that you're going to do something, but also doing it right and staying with it. But understanding you can pivot and adjust. We have a long time on this earth to keep adjusting and keep pivoting. So, Carol, I'm glad that you touched on, okay, it might not be basketball, but watch me go do this. I'm going to figure it out. I think that's powerful for not only female athletes, but powerful for all of our listeners, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And here's my favorite part of the episode. It's not the banger question first, because I want to get to that one a little bit later, but I haven't asked this the last couple times. Before we ask you your keep going moment, I want to know, talk to me about the people that have inspired you for just a quick minute or two before we get to the big question.
The list of 1,000 you probably could name. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously you have like your family and your team, whatever, but like the first person that comes to mind is my sister, my twin.
I don't know her. Who is she?
Yeah, what's her name? Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of her. Yeah, but like Jackie, I mean, everyone's probably familiar with her that's listening. If you know me, you know her. But like I said, when we were younger, it was always like the two of us. And then kind of I went to college and I was playing basketball and she wasn't. And I know that's like so tough to be the one that isn't. But her thing is like, okay, what am I going to do to support you? How can I support you? Whereas like, honestly, if I was her and I didn't end up playing and she did, I don't know that how I would have handled that.
Right.
Not even the jealousy, but it's like that me and like that could have been her. But so what is she going to do about it? Well, then she made her own little community. And it's like, if you see any picture of my games or like an away game, you see a picture of my team playing in Hawaii, she's in the background standing up cheering. So I think she just is such a good example of like, life might not always go your way. Like she thought she was going to be that college athlete. She wasn't, but look what she's done. She's going to be my biggest cheerleader. She's going to create her own fan base. And it's inspired me. It's inspired so many other people. It helped my teammates. It helped everybody at school wanted to come and sit with her at the game. So it's just like, take what you have and run with it. Like it's not always going to go as planned, but you can either pout and feel bad for yourself or you can do something and change it in your own way. And she did just that. So it's been her. I mean, I could go on and on and on and sit here and cry and talk about her. I'm not going to do that. But her, my siblings, we've all been through a lot, but my family is just big on like work hard, do your thing. You always have all of us behind you. Life's going to throw you with 1,000 things, but we've always just worked so hard and it's been rewarding. I mean, we're all still in it, but you know, life gets tough. They all just continue to do their thing. Again, so cliche. And then my teammates are great. Yeah, I'd say the first people that come to mind is my family and my teammates.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Celebrity wise, if we're gonna get into that, obviously, you know, Caitlin.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everyone on the women's side that just kind of kept going. Like she put out something the other day and it reminded me of my sister and I. Like I used to get kicked out of gym class or something for being too competitive. And it's like, so what? Where she got. So my sister and I send this quote back and forth. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's like, be passionate, be crazy, be intense, and whoever sticks around you is meant for you. So that's kind of what, you know, my people go by too.
Love it.
I love it. Stay with this. I need to ask you. I know we're about 30 minutes in now. Tell me your keep going moment. I know we've had a lot of great answers. It's usually more than one in some capacity, but yeah, tell me your keep going moment.
Yeah, so there's a couple that come to mind, but there's one. So my junior year, we won the championship at home, our league championship, and we were down 23 in the third quarter. And I remember I had just got subbed out, and I'm sitting like in the chair right next to the coaches, and I have like straight shot. It was like my bench, and then right across from us is like our fan section, which was always my sister in the front, my family, and my friends. And I remember I'm like head down, feeling bad, and I look up and they're all just like, you're good, and I'm like, we're down, like this, like we all thought this game was over. And I look up and they're all still sitting there more into the game than I was at that point, like thumbs up, you're good, you got this. And I was like, okay, that kind of kicked me in the ass, is like, figure it out, you can do it. And honestly, if we didn't turn around and win, they were still going to be there. So that's a moment I look back on. It's like, even to make an analogy, like if it's not basketball, if I'm down in life, all of those people, all of those faces in the gym that day, plus more, I'm going to be able to look up to and turn to, and they're going to be like, we got you, keep going.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, no doubt. I think you want to keep people like that in your corner, right? Win, lose, or draw, they're always there to pick you up. And I remember, if I'm not mistaken, that was Jackie's episode day. This is a year ago now, I want to say.
Yes.
And Jackie, and this is just hilarious. Jackie comes on the pod. I don't even know Jackie at that point. Jackie comes on the pod that day and has no voice, and she's gutting it out. I'll never forget this. Like, I'm in my, wow, this is a crazy flashback for me. I'm in my apartment in Wrigleyville, and this girl who I don't even know is leaving the bars and restaurants with her family after the conference championship to come shoot this pod with people she barely knows. But like, it goes back to the non-negotiables. It goes back to doing what you said you were going to do long after that feeling goes away. And I talk about it all the time. And after she's literally going crazy cheering for a 23-point comeback, she goes, all right, guys, I'm going to go shoot the pod. But that's how you Tripp twins do things, though.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny hearing it from your end, because on my end, and it's so funny because we talked about this actually recently. We were all out and about, obviously having ourselves a great time, and then Jackie kind of like Irish goodbyes, and everyone's like, "Where's Jackie?" And
you're gonna notice when Jackie's gone. That's not an Irish, like,
no,
you can Irish goodbye.
She's not a fly on the wall by any means.
In 3 minutes, you're gonna be like, "Wait a second, what's happening?"
Yeah.
Well, not even like she's not, like, it was noticeable. It's like we're in this like apartment setting, everyone's had a couple, and then it's like, well, I haven't seen Jackie in a minute, and then I was like, oh, and when I said she was going on the podcast, everyone's like, oh, of course, like, and so like on board at the moment.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And it just, I wish I could like side by side these and be like, when Jackie was talking about how awesome the game was and how proud she was of you.
Yeah.
The way she spoke about being like the way you just spoke about her is the same way she spoke about you. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But once again, I'm going to start crying here, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go on with the episode, but we want to get you out of here. We know it's a Sunday. We appreciate your time. I want to rapid fire a couple of questions, and not to put Luke on the spot, but Luke, you're going first.
No, 100%. We appreciate the time that you've given us here. And one thing we've been trying to ask our guests more is, what can we do to help you? We know you're involved with Morgan's Message. We know you're going to your internship in the NCAA. What's something that Keep Going can do for you over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. The podcasts are great for everybody. I think even just bringing people on, and it helps so much. Like, it's helping me to talk about these things. Like, you don't realize maybe what you need to focus on or what you struggled with until you're being asked and talking about it with these people. And then that group chat that you guys have is just great. I mean, I could probably contribute in it a little more, but even I have it, and I'll be like at the gym, oh, I haven't checked it today, and I look, and I'm like in the middle of the set, and someone's sending this crazy quote. I'm like, all right, okay, let's go.
Here we go. Let's get this.
It's one of those cheerleader things. It's one of the cheerleader moments, right?
Continue to grow the community. It's been super helpful for me. I can't wait to see the rest of the people that we bring on and welcome in.
No, I love that.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see everything that we touched on with Jackie and everything she's doing now with Evolve. If you haven't followed that page yet, I mean, we're just proud of what she's doing. And I can't wait till you get to Indy, because I know Indy very well. My cousins are big Colts fans. I know the downtown very well. So I'll come out and see you and show you a good time.
Good. So
yeah, I can definitely do that. My next question for you would be this, and I've been asking our guests this as well. What is your legacy plan? Like, when this is all said and done, your life here on Earth, what are you trying to be remembered for? Like, what do people want to think of when they think of Caroline Tripp?
Yeah, it's hard to answer now, obviously, or think of, but like looking at it in like life chapters, when I leave Bridgewater, like everyone's like Tripp, I go by Tripp. When people hear Tripp, I had a great career, like did well, loved it. We had a great team, great run. It's not even so much as look back and think of the basketball player I was. And that's kind of why Morgan's Message has been so big, is because I think without this, to any other team or sport or players or coaches, it's the basketball side of me. But I'd rather they look back and think she was a friend, or she was on a bad day, she smiled at me in the hallway. Like, she was there for me. I knew I could talk to her, and like, through Morgan's message, I don't have people calling me every day crying, can I talk to you, whatever. But like those minimal times when I do, or hey, can I talk to you, or someone is talking to me in the trainer about an injury, or like someone's giving me a call or shooting me a text, or just reaching out, just knowing that I've been a safe place for someone to go to. So I guess more so like a good friend, good person than anything. Leaving Bridgewater, I hope it's that I'm more so remembered as a better person and friend and someone you can just talk to in passing and stuff like that, rather than what I did on the court, because that's obviously always going to be remembered and always going to be around.
Yeah.
Amen.
Person over the player. Luke, go ahead. You got another one?
No, I just really want to thank a Tripp for coming on today. I didn't know you were a last name girl. I'm a last name guy. A lot of people call me Wheat from up north, that Pat's buddies and that are my buddies as well. But no, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on today. I know it's not always easy to talk about this stuff, but you made it look easy, so we appreciate it.
No,
Thank
you. I completely agree. And I'll cap us off with this. It's a special episode, right? Like, it's number 70, obviously, you being Jackie's twin. There's so much going here. And then looking at numbers before the episode, we always shout out a sports player that wore number 70. Dennis Rodman, 2000 Mavericks green jersey, number 70. Dennis Rodman.
Dang. I did not know that.
That's
So being a man of faith, being a man of the universe, I had to look into NBA first because this is a basketball episode. And yeah, I can picture that green jersey, number 70. So yeah, that's all I got today. But Carol, anything else to cap us off? Anything else you didn't say that you wanted to say to the listeners today?
Yeah, I mean, it's not number 70, but now you got my wheels turning. And then I was thinking of like big I was episode 72. It could not have been like a more perfect fit because Matt White from the Patriots is 72, and I worked with internship with his nonprofit this summer, and he's just a great guy. Shout out all of them there.
What's his nonprofit? I've never heard of it.
It's called the Light Foundation. So the offices are right near Gillette Stadium. So I did work with them. They do a bunch of stuff with kids and the youth, and it's focused on youth development and youth leadership. And he actually started it when he was playing, and then it's been huge. Him, his wife, my bosses that I worked for too, with the interns. So everything is headquartered in, like I said, in Gillette. That's all the marketing, the finances, the stuff like that, and then everything much is out in Ohio. So they have these Camp Bahocus, and I forget the rest of the names off the top of my head, but they just do these big fishing, hunting. They bring these kids for camps in the summer. So all of like the wheels turn and everything happens up here pretty much for fundraising with all the Patriots guys.
Right, of course.
We have up here, and then all of it physically happens out in Ohio, which is cool because when I'm in Indy this summer, I'll kind of be right near there. So I'll be able to see it all kind of come to life.
I was about to say, yeah, go ahead. We gotta bring the Midwest into the kind of the mix of a lot of stuff you're doing, and we will. I'm not too worried about it, but like we're too close with too many impact people not to. So yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what was did you ask?
No, I was just saying because I kind of cut you off there. Go ahead.
So it's just, if you want to look it up, it's the Light Foundation. You guys would think it's super cool. Big focus.
Sweet.
Like it's all outdoors, which is what I thought was super cool. Is you don't see much of that anymore.
Right.
And it's out in Ohio, so there's obviously more outdoor opportunity kind of than we have here year round. So yeah,
let's do it. No, looking forward to it. And you're not going to catch me cheering for the Pats by any means, but I definitely will support a great foundation. Right. But in all seriousness, love you guys. I appreciate the time today. And above all else, keep going. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Tripp.
Keep
going. Later. Thanks, Carol.
Bye.